Good morning, YouTube. Hopefully you are all good and doing well as always, and welcome to episode 21 of The Cut. I think I've actually got it right this time. And episode 3 of the photo shoot side of things. So it is currently Wednesday, the 1st of July, and I'm now 3 days into peak week. I'm just making up my cream of rice right now. I've got 75 grams of it this morning, so I'm happy. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking you through and showing you through peak week and exactly what I am doing in order to peak and look the best that I can for my photo shoot, which I'm currently 5 days away from. Now, just for a little recap, because as I said, I'm 3 days into this process. I obviously started sort of like peaking on Monday, and I've also had Tuesday as well. But the reason that I'm doing this vlog now and starting this vlog now is because Monday and Tuesday didn't really have any changes that were really that significant to report. So on Monday, I increased my carbs by 20 grams. Well, actually my coach did. And yesterday it was increased to a further, increased by a further 25 grams. So yesterday macro targets were 180 grams of protein, 225 grams of carbs, and 55 grams of fat. And the idea over the course of this week, really, I'm focusing on the same stuff as I was last week in terms of, say, like from a stress side of things, because work is still a bit stressful. From like a food side of things, the aim of the game is to sort of slowly increase carbs towards the start of the week, see how my body handles it on a daily basis, how things are changing and progressing, and then sort of increase the carbs as required. And then towards the back end of the week is when we'll look at sort of trying to get any water off to look as sort of like vascular as possible. So the aim of the game really by the end of it is to be as veiny and as big as possible for the actual photo shoot itself. Each morning has just consisted of doing like progress photos and sending them through to my coach. So I've literally woken up every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'll show you the most recent video to sort of see how I'm looking. And I send the photos through to him along with my body weight, and then he will tell me sort of the targets that I'm aiming for today. So I've done that this morning. I'm not 100% sure on what my targets are going to be. I've already sort of pre-tracked my day based upon what I think he's probably going to tell me. I'm sort of hoping for another bump up in carbs. Through increasing carbs over the last couple of days, my body weight's come down by half a kilo. We've just seen that I've just like been filling out more and looking better. Like Monday, I really didn't really like how I was looking, but yesterday I felt significantly happier with things. And I'm confident that like with continuing to increase carbs, I will continue to sort of be that way. But I'm just continuing to make up for my cream of rice. I've got legs this morning, so I will show you through some of that, and then I should have an update from my coach by that time, because he's up nice and early and responds to me nice and quick in terms of what the targets are. And I will show you through only today, but also like the next few days of carbing up, what I'm eating, what I'm doing, how the physique progresses, and all of that sort of good stuff. So stay tuned.
I lied to you. We're not seeing an increase in carbs today. I sort of anticipated that maybe we would, but my coach has sort of looked at my pictures, looked at where my weight is, and as he correctly says, we are seeing that fatigue is dropping off. I'm feeling better within myself. And what he wants to do for today is just keep things the exact same as they were yesterday. And we're basically planning on increasing carbs a little bit more significantly over the next couple of days. But not today. We're just keeping things the exact same as they were from a nutritional point of view. So that means, again, 225 grams worth of carbs, 180 grams worth of protein, and 54 grams of fat. I've already gone and pre-tracked my day, so I know exactly what I'm going to be having. I've had my cream of rice this morning. I'm going to have my overnight oats like I normally would. Then I'm going to have my chicken mince a little bit later on with my salad like I normally would. Then I've gone and tracked the tiniest bowl of cocoa rice in the whole world with some milk. And then for dinner, it's going to be some pre-done mince with some golden vegetable rice. And that's going to be the food for today. I have made a slight change to my training today, because what we've decided to do, I would normally run push-pull legs, rest, upper, lower. We're just going to switch things around prior to the shoot. So I've trained legs today on the Wednesday. Tomorrow's going to be a rest day, and then I'm actually going to train legs again on the Friday. So today's session was a little bit of a de-volume session. So I just took one set away from my working sets on like each exercise that I did pretty much across the board. And I didn't necessarily like really push the intensity to a point of like going to failure or whatever. I did leave a few reps in reserve. But where today's targets are pretty much the same, I'm just going to focus on going through my day like normal, and then I'll catch up with you tomorrow when we have the new targets and obviously take you through that.
Good morning. It is now the next morning, so it's 6:20 on Thursday morning, and I've checked in with my coach this morning, and again we are happy with how things are moving. Food yesterday was exactly the same as it was the day before, so as I mentioned, 225 grams of carbs, 180 grams of protein and 55 grams of fat. And today I am a very happy man because we are seeing a significant increase in carbs. With it being a rest day, I'm also actually reducing steps down as well, and this is where things should really start sort of making a difference and really start changing. I should really start feeling fuller and everything should start looking better and better, because the first few days have just been about sort of like almost priming things, getting rid of fatigue, and now we're in a good spot. In terms of today's targets, with today being a rest day, I'm actually not obviously training because it's a rest day, but I've also, my coach has lowered my steps from 10,000 to just 8,000, because the main aim of the game today is really to try and get sort of as full as possible, remove any sort of fatigue and take things relatively nice and easy. And today really should be a breeze in many ways. I think the hardest thing about today is that because I'm used to doing say like 12, 15k steps, and I've been sort of pushing myself quite a lot with the activity side of things, only doing 8k feels like a very measly amount. I've already I went for like a sort of 40-minute walk, and I had to cut it down from what I normally would and go like a different route to what I normally would. And I'm already sat at like 4.7k steps. So I'm probably gonna have to do like, say like a short walk at lunch. From a food side of things, the targets are 300 grams worth of carbs, 170 grams worth of protein, and then the fat's exactly the same, so 55 grams of fat. I've already gone and like pre-tracked my day like I normally would, so that all my macros are already accounted for. But I've just gone and had my 75 grams of cream of rice with a scoop of protein powder, which weighs out to be 40 grams, and then also 100 grams of banana as well. And I actually feel relatively full right now, which is a nice feeling because I've certainly not felt that for like the last probably 2 months. From a food side of things, let me show you what I'm going to be taking to the office with me. So food is going to be pretty similar to what it normally would be, in that I'm going to be having my overnight oats. I'm also going to be having my chicken mince. I'm going to have to get rid of my boiled egg so that I can fit my protein macros and also not go over my fat. I've got the Lewis Hamilton Monster as well. It's now changed to Full Throttle instead of Lewis Hamilton, so I don't really know why the name of it's changed. And then instead of being basically keto for lunch, I'm going to be having my golden vegetable rice. Now, one thing that is very important when you are carbing up and when you're increasing food in general, especially around say like a photo shoot or any sort of like show, although I haven't done a show, so I feel like I'm not 100% qualified to obviously talk about that. One of the main things that you want to focus on is just continuing to have foods that work with you. In the week sort of leading up to the photo shoot, you are going to probably be having quite similar foods quite often, and you want to make sure that on this last week you're not introducing a food that is going to negatively impact your digestion quite significantly. So that golden vegetable rice, I know that works really well for me because I have it pretty much all the time. It's going to help me to sort of avoid having any digestive issues, because obviously that's one of the last things we want, in terms of obviously you don't want like your midsection to be really like uncomfortable, bloated, and not be able to sort of like present your abs as you'd want to when you're doing your actual sort of photo shoot. Good morning. It is now Friday morning and I'm in the posing room at the gym. Yesterday, food-wise, I hit my targets exactly as I wanted to. My food was exactly as I mentioned. The only thing that I sort of had that I didn't show you was in the evening, I had a fillet of salmon with some golden vegetable rice again, some broccoli, and then also some red onion. So my breath was kicking a little bit last night. I felt a bit bad for Erin. But the macros were hit spot on, exactly where we wanted them to be yesterday. The 300 grams of carbs literally didn't feel like they hit the sides or touched the sides. I still found that I was really just quite hungry. As I mentioned in sort of previous videos, it's funny how when you suddenly have access to more food, you feel significantly hungrier. This morning, from a training side of things, I had to run my leg session that I explained on Wednesday. So I'm doing legs today because we want to train upper body tomorrow, and we don't really want sort of too much inflammation prior to going into the shoot from training legs the day later. The training legs on the Wednesday, I just did a bit of a devolume session. So I just took one set away from each exercise,
Didn't give it the beans on each exercise that I did do, but it was actually a very enjoyable and fun session. I was able to get it done relatively quick. I was nice and focused throughout it. And I'm also sort of running the new session that I'm going to be running after the photo shoot, when I'm going to be bulking up and trying to gain muscle. Some new movements in there that I haven't done for a little while, so it was nice to just sort of switch things up. And as I say, overall, it was a nice and productive session. With the food yesterday, I could feel that I was starting to sort of like fill up a little bit. Like I can feel like in my arms and certainly in my legs. And in my video this morning, which I sent over to my coach, my photos that I sent over to my coach, I could see that my legs have clearly filled out from Monday. I'll try and show you. On the left will be Monday, on the right will be this morning. And I can see that like things are filling out more. The first few days were just to get rid of that fatigue, as mentioned. Yesterday was more a case of actually filling up. And today is going to be a case of filling up again. So from a nutritional point of view, the targets are going to be 400 grams of carbs, 169 grams of protein, and then dropping fats down a little bit so that we're making sure that we're actually sort of like utilizing the carbohydrates that we're having. So fats are going to be 45 grams of fat. I was driving to work. I've literally just come to a realization. I finished work at 4 o'clock, and with the calories that I've tracked and everything that I've accounted for so far, I'm going to have to be cramming in a lot of food towards the end of the day, which is the last thing that I want, because if I'm eating a lot, I'm probably going to be drinking a lot, and I will go to bed feeling very, very full and uncomfortable. So I am going to spend the next couple of minutes sorting out my food, tracking it. I am outside Tesco and I need to go and get what I need. Good job that I left the gym earlier than normal. Goods acquired. They didn't have the rice cakes that I like. I literally tracked my food and I was going to just have 10 rice cakes over the course of the day, but they didn't have the ones that I like. They only had like the sour cream and chive ones, or the salt and vinegar ones. I don't want the salt and vinegar ones because that would probably be way too much salt over the course of the day. So I've gone and got my favourite sweets of all time, squashies, and I've also got some lettuce for my other meals. With the squashies, obviously I'd imagine that they are really quite high in sugars, so not the ideal choice to just be having a whole bag of these over the course of the day, but I do love them and needs must. Also barely any fat, so I don't think there's any fat in them, so sound. Now I need to drive to work. Good evening, guys. I am a happy man this evening because it is going to be a long weekend. Finished work obviously for the week. Lewis Hamilton has just got pole at Silverstone for the sprint race, and I've got my last meal of the day. I've also gone and bought some Medjool dates from M&S for tomorrow. And I'm very excited to be having those. We're going up in the world with the M&S ones. The plan for tomorrow is obviously to be determined based upon sort of like how I'm looking in terms of like once I wake up and where weight is and everything. But I'm quite confident that we'll continue to be carbing up, potentially make a few more changes within there as well. I am going to do that as a separate video. So this weekend is going to be a separate video, and obviously subscribe so that you can see that if you're not already. But in terms of nutrition for today, I've shown you what I've been having whilst I've been in the office. It's been sort of pretty typical. I had a whole thing of squashies today throughout the course of the day, and I also had a banana when I got back home, and my targets are pretty much perfect. I couldn't really change them to be exactly perfect. I think I'm 2 grams below in terms of protein, 2 grams up on fat, and 1 gram below the target in terms of carbohydrates, but you can't really get too much closer than that. Overall, I'm feeling good, certainly feeling a little bit fuller in terms of like my muscles, which are nice. Do you reckon I look fuller, Esdog?
Yes, I do.
Love that. I'm confident that over the next couple of days I'm just going to look better and better with like the final adjustments and everything. Tonight I've got to exfoliate my skin. We've already done it once this week. Got to exfoliate my skin. Tomorrow morning the video is probably going to start with me shaving my body, even though I don't really want to show you that because I don't think you really want to see that, but I will be going through the process of doing that. And then we're also going to be tanning tomorrow evening as well, so I'm going to have to show you through all of that stuff in the next video. So as I say, keep your eyes out for it because it will probably come along in the next couple of days. Very much for watching. If you've got any questions, obviously leave them in the comments below. And I'm very excited for the photo shoot, but also excited to eat this as well, even though it doesn't really look the most exciting in the whole wide world.